The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 42nd floor, each drop a reminder of how far removed Marcus Chen had become from the world below. He sat alone in his corner office, the city's glittering lights blurred through the storm, much like his vision had become blurred by years of relentless ambition. At 52, he commanded an empire worth $12 billion, yet tonight, staring at the crumpled piece of paper in his trembling hands, he felt poorer than he'd ever been in his life. The letter had arrived 3 hours ago, delivered by a nervous intern who'd been told it was urgent by someone at the front desk. Marcus had almost thrown it away. Who sends handwritten letters anymore? But something about the childish scrawl of his name on the envelope made him pause. Now, having read it 17 times, those innocent words had shattered the carefully constructed walls around his heart. Dear Mr. Chen, it began, can you read this letter? It's very important. My name is Sophie Martinez and I'm 8 years old. My mom says you're the man who owns the big building where she used to work before she got sick. Marcus closed his eyes, remembering Elena Martinez. She'd been one of hundreds of employees he'd laid off during his company's optimization phase 2 years ago. He'd never met her personally. She was just a number on a spreadsheet, a way to increase quarterly profits by 3.7%. The decision had earned him praise from the board and a hefty bonus. He'd bought his third yacht with that money. The letter continued in Sophie's uneven handwriting. Mom doesn't know I'm writing this. She says we shouldn't bother important people with our problems, but I think you should know that she cries at night when she thinks I'm sleeping. The doctors say she needs an operation, but we don't have enough money because she lost her job. I don't understand why good people like my mom have to suffer when there's so much money in the world. Marcus's hands shook as he read the next paragraph. I saw you on TV once. You were talking about success and how you worked really hard to get where you are. I think you must be a good person too, because you made jobs for lots of people. I was wondering if maybe you could help my mom get her job back, or maybe know a doctor who could fix her heart for less money. I know you're probably too busy to read this, but I had to try. She's the only family I have. The letter was signed with a wobbly, "Love, Sophie," followed by a small drawing of a heart and what appeared to be a mother and daughter holding hands under a rainbow. For the first time in decades, Marcus felt tears on his cheeks. When had he stopped seeing people as people? When had profit margins become more important than the woman who'd worked overtime every holiday, who'd never missed a day in 7 years, who'd raised a daughter with such hope that she'd write to a stranger believing in human goodness? Marcus grabbed his phone and dialed his assistant. Jennifer, I need you to find Elena Martinez immediately. She used to work in our accounting department. I need her medical records, her address, everything. Sir, it's almost midnight. I don't care what time it is. This is the most important thing I've ever asked you to do. Within an hour, Marcus had the full story. Elena Martinez, 41, single mother, diagnosed with cardiomyopathy 3 months after being laid off. She'd been working 3 part-time jobs to pay rent and buy her daughter's school supplies while trying to save for the surgery she desperately needed. Her insurance had lapsed when she lost her full-time position, and no other company would hire someone with her pre-existing condition. Marcus drove through the rain to the Martinez apartment, a 40-minute journey to a part of the city he'd never visited. The building was nothing like his penthouse, paint peeling, flickering hallway lights, the smell of dreams deferred. He climbed 3 flights of stairs to apartment 3B and knocked softly. A tired woman's voice called out, "Sophie, did you order something?" "Mrs. Martinez, my name is Marcus Chen. I received a letter from Sophie today." The door opened slowly, revealing a woman who looked far older than her 41 years. Her eyes widened in recognition and fear. "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea Sophie wrote to you. Please don't. Mrs. Martinez, may I come in?" Elena stepped aside, wrapping her thin robe tighter around herself. The apartment was tiny but immaculately clean. Children's artwork covered one wall, and Marcus could see Sophie peeking around the corner of what must have been their shared bedroom. "I came to apologize," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "And to offer you something that should have been yours all along: respect, dignity, and a chance." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "I don't understand." Marcus knelt down so he was eye level with Sophie, who had crept closer. You wrote that you wondered if good people have to suffer when there's so much money in the world. You're right to wonder that, Sophie. But sometimes it takes a very brave little girl to remind grown-ups how to be human again. Over the next hour, Marcus explained his plan. Elena would return to work at his company with full benefits and a raise. Her surgery would be covered entirely by the company's medical fund, a fund he decided to establish that very night. But more than that, he wanted to create something lasting. I'm starting a foundation, he told them, called the Sophie Martinez Foundation for Working Families. Every person we've had to let go, everyone struggling with medical bills, everyone who's fallen through the cracks, we're going to help them. Not because we have to, but because we should have been doing this all along. Sophie ran to Marcus and hugged him tightly. Does this mean Mommy won't cry anymore? I hope not, sweetheart. But more importantly, it means other little girls won't have to write letters like yours. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same office where he'd first read Sophie's letter. But now, the walls were covered with photos, families reunited with healthcare, employees who'd been rehired, children whose parents could afford to dream again. The foundation had already helped over 3,000 families, and Marcus had donated half his personal wealth to ensure its continuation. Elena Martinez now served as the foundation's director of family services, her heart surgery successful, her smile radiant. Sophie visited the office every week after school, doing homework in the conference room where million-dollar deals used to be the only priority. The letter sat framed on Marcus's desk, a daily reminder that the most important words aren't found in contracts or quarterly reports, but in the honest plea of a child who believed that somewhere in the world, someone was listening. Marcus had spent his entire adult life accumulating wealth, believing that success was measured in zeros in a bank account. But an 8-year-old girl had taught him the most valuable lesson of all. True wealth isn't what you hoard, but what you give away. It isn't the buildings you own, but the lives you touch. It isn't the power you wield, but the hope you restore. Every evening now, Marcus would look out at the city lights and see not just buildings and traffic, but stories. Behind every window was a family, a dream, a person who mattered. And sometimes, if he listened carefully, he could hear the echo of Sophie's words, I think you must be a good person too. That assumption, that beautiful, innocent faith in human goodness, had saved them all.